Hello everyone. Welcome to another webinar promoted by SoftExpert. Today's event introduces the PMBOK 6th edition highlights about process, terms, and concepts that changed in the last revision of the guide. The webinar will be conducted by Raphael Arias. Raphael is a business analyst at SoftExpert with more than 8 years' experience in the IT industry and management systems. I wish you all a great webinar.
Hello everyone, and welcome to our webinar on the PMBOK 6th edition changes, where we want to explore the main changes on last edition of the project guidelines, on concepts that were introduced, terms that were changed, and items that are no longer on it. But firstly, I would like to thank you for your interest in this content, and that any question that you might have on this subject, you can send it to me through my email. It will be displayed at the end of this presentation, so don't worry, we'll get there. I would like also to encourage you to connect to our social media on Facebook or LinkedIn. There are a lot of content available on performance, quality, and excellence for various industries and teams. Well, as we all know, the PMBOK is primarily a guideline designed not only for PMP exam, but to help project managers lead success throughout projects. It encompasses trends, practices, and takeaways discussed between volunteers of PMI, where they build and adapt this framework regarding to process, practices, procedures, and technology involved. And just to let you know that you can get a copy of the PMBOK on their website, on PMI website, okay? But before we crawl on this subject, I would like to say that it's mandatory to be aware and understand about the Code of Ethics and Professional Conduct, as well as the project management body of knowledge. All of this sets down the concepts, terms, and ideas to be further explored on the PMBOK, okay? So it's good to be aware of. Well, to begin with, I would like to quickly talk about the PMBOK Timeline, where the launch was in 96 and the first revision was in 2000, and then in 2004 the third edition with 39 processes described. In 2009 it gets bigger with more 3 processes on the fourth edition, and then on the fifth edition it goes to 47 processes. And the last one that we are going to talk today was released in 2017 on the fourth quarter with 49 processes. All these updates on process and terms are revised by the volunteers that we said before. They are from around the world, from various industries, and settle on Project Management Institute, aka PMI. The structure of the PMBOK is still the same framework. Some chapters were rewritten, like chapter 1, with new information about reason for doing projects, life cycles, projects, and phase gates, for example. And on chapter 2, also rewritten, but still on process assets and environment factors. And there is this new content about governance and management elements and structure types. Well, now we are going to talk about the changes in the chapter 3 is a new one about the role of the project manager. It aligns with the PMI talent triangle on technical project, strategic and businesses, and leadership for project managers. The first 3 chapters that we mentioned were rewritten to understand the importance of the project manager role and effectiveness. They define project manager as leader, a thinker, a business expert, and a global integrator. There are more than 18 pages describing managers' spheres of influence, competencies, comparison with team leadership and management styles, as well as pinpoints on project integrations. Moving on, we have the 2 changes on the names of the chapters, and of course, more than names, they are concepts that were brought ahead and redesigned. First, project time management changed to project schedule management. This was to make it clear that is the schedule that we manage and not the time, to emphasize the importance of scheduling in project management. Moreover, this now supports the practice standard published by PMI for scheduling with some agile concepts on it. Also, the critical chain method too was dropped. It didn't make much sense to keep it, because a key premise was that the critical path method didn't consider resource constraints. These practice standards detail how you can use the tools, techniques, and processes in a specific schedule structure and align it with the strategic directions, along with trends and emerging practices like emotional intelligence that says teams with emotional engagements tend to be more successful, and teams that use agile approaches tend to be more self-organizing, also encompassing virtually distributed teams and environments. Now, human resource management changed to project resource management. This set expansion on manageable issues, not only for teams resources, but also physical, virtual, and technological resources. This is a logical change that was needed, since many project managements have felt this need for a long time. It covers other types of resources as well, like materials, equipment, tools, and so on, that are also part of project, and their management is essential for the success indeed. Also, a team charter was added, and it's basically a document establishing values, agreements, and operational guidelines. Now, every knowledge area in the PMBOK 6th edition will have this 4-section structure supporting ideas, aligning with the project needs. First, we have the key concepts. It's self-explanatory, gives a starting point and a solid foundation to work on. Tailoring consideration. Earlier edition had mentioned tailoring, but not a specific need was mentioned. Now on 6th edition, there is more detailed guidelines and explanation on this matter. Using these tailoring guidelines, you know which processes to put more focus on, considering the size of the project and the scope of work. And so we have these developments and new practices being used in project management, encompassing trends and emerging practices. And last but not least, focus on agile and adaptive situations instead of just predictive approach on projects. And now we have 3 new processes have been added. Manage project knowledge, that basically settle ideas to use existing knowledge to create new knowledge to achieve objectives and contribute to the organizational learning, like the use of lesson learned structures and practices. Control resources have the purpose of ensuring physical resources are available as planned. Monitoring of planned issues versus the real resource utilization, and taking corrective action as needed. This aligns with the emphasis about risks on the whole PMBOK regarding uncertainties, non-event risk, ambiguity, and resilience affecting projects. And below, we have the indication on which process group and knowledge areas they were included. And here we have all renamed processes. The total of 9 processes have been renamed and 1 closed, as we see below. First, the term control was changed to monitor for some situations but stayed on others for a certain purpose. Performance quality assurance changed to manage quality, considering that most organizations' quality assurance are outside of the project. Plan resource management, as we said on earlier slide, is following the project resource management. And last, we have the process close procurement that no longer is on PMBOK. In reality, as the PMI market research proved that the project manager hardly plays any procurement role in this process. They always go to procurement managers or legal teams to be handled. And here are some concepts that were included on PMBOK. First is Agile. One of major and high impact changes in 6th edition is the inclusion of Agile concepts for the first time from Agile Practice Guide. This has broadened the gamut of project delivery approaches, and these changes will also impact the PMI certification course like PMP. On risk strategy, a new risk strategy have been added both for positive risks like opportunities and for negative risks like threats. If the project manager identifies any risk, good or bad, beyond his scope, he should delegate it to a person or team within the organizations. Once escalated, he can either remove it or classify it as assigned to in the risk records. Now, there is this new earned schedule concept. This idea has been included with the earned value management on the project cost issues. It redefines the schedule variance and schedule performance index, the SPI. that it is used in the traditional EVM with ES and actual time. In this graph, we can see how it's easy to project and schedule. You have the planned value line that is projected over time, and you have the perpendicular line showing the day that we are on. And below we have the line of value following the project execution. And if you trace a line back against the planned value line till it touches the accumulative line plan and go downwards, we'll have the earned schedule point. And this is an additional metric that you might use with earned value. And last, we have notations. Once again, for the first time, various notations have been used in these editions, differentiating processes which are ongoing processes, ones which are constantly being executed against non-ongoing processes. Moving on, we have issues about escalate and scope. First, on escalate response, it means that during a project execution, you may not be able to handle all the risks and problems that arise from who knows where, and those issues probably need to be escalated to others to be properly attended and to create an efficient approach to bottlenecks. So now on 6th edition, you can do that with escalate response to work around situations more efficiently. And you have seen the mention of scope throughout the PMBOK guide as part of the total scope. And on this edition, there is this emphasis on the importance of both product and project scope that expands its importance over activities and outcomes. Last but not least, we would like to point out some considerations. In fact, it's pretty simple. On this 6th edition, you will notice that it makes project managers more aware on agile approaches to deliver better outcomes and results. Not only managing the triple talent issues or on time, on budget deliveries, it encompasses needs and expectations of interested parties. It focuses on delivering valuable outcomes to the objectives that were established, along with insights obtained on the run. This is a way to show stakeholders and interested parties that the focus is maintained throughout the cycle of the project till the outcomes are achieved. More adaptive approaches to agile practices, creating a more efficient and responsive decisions over the project key situations, being more accurate when updating and correcting issues. Engagement, more focus on involving people on decision-making situations or processes, exploring different channels with the intent of being more collaborative, looking forward to create structures that deliver more successful projects. And there is this new kind of learning mindset that helps managers think and do on every moment of a project. In older projects, we used to learn after a phase, task, or project is over, more like a reviewing step. And now there is this feeling to learn and adapt as things are happening, and we have to be more effective moving knobs and adjusting situations as the project is running. So you can learn in one day and applying insights as soon as needed on the next activity, focusing on perform better, reduce uncertainties and risks. So now you have this artillery to be more flexible on every step. Just to add one more thing and clarify about the PMP, if we think about the relevance of the 5th edition on the PMP exam, it is still very relevant because the 6th edition is not a total change comparing to its last version. It's more like an enhancement of things that still are there on the PMBOK. So if you already studied the 5th editions to take the exam, don't worry about thinking it was a waste of time. None of that. Things still make sense, but needs to be polished with the 6th edition, improving the concepts to a more efficient approaches. And now before we go to the conclusion, I would like to take a moment to show a little bit about our solutions on project management that helps managers to plan, control, and communicate and notify everyone involved. Here we have the demand management to structure the process and flow of a project, creating forms to facilitate inputs, controlling specific criteria of your project, creating scenarios of success and failure, and prioritization of goals and metrics. And you can build and arrange KPIs on portals. And also you can track all activities with the Gantt charts, controlling documents and walk them through approvals and revisions. distributing of tasks with backlogs to track all the history. And you have also this important feature to bring all of your project templates to our solution. Control resources with scheduling features, competence insights, track resource allocation, and follow up everything on a simplest calendar or in a timesheet view. You can choose the way you want to track. The solution brings a financial perspective to control everything you want of the projects, dipping on planned costs against accumulated bugs, and of course, automate financial activities and see everything on portals also. Ensure quality through checklists that certify the fulfillment of crucial information for the projects, and with flowcharts, control all deviations and uncertainties, creating action plans as needed, and evaluate incidents and problems on the go. Create and view planned, ongoing, and finished portfolios, and access everything on mobile devices. Control all project risk with an impact versus probability matrix that helps identify critical moments of the project, creating preventive controls to notify you before things go wrong. All the information can be controlled as well the changes that happen in a project. You can also automate the changes and set them in a revision path that include all data recorded. And at the end, you can build a performance portal to view all progress of the project's tasks, activities, and goals. Those are just some highlights on what our solution can do regarding to projects on whatever size, dimensions, scenario, or industry that your company is on. Well, we hope this content could help you clarify the PMBOK 6th edition and also project issues. We really like to thank everyone that have interest on our content, and remember that you can access more information on our website, blog, LinkedIn, and Facebook. So connect with us to receive on first hand our content. And any doubts that you might have, please feel free to contact me on raphael.arias@softexpert.com. I once again want to thank you all and hope to see you soon on our next webinar. So bye everyone, and thank you very much.
On behalf of SoftExpert, thank you for the presence of everyone who participated in this event. If you have any questions, please contact the presenter via email. To see other webinars, ebooks, and white papers on this subject, please visit our website at softexpert.com. Find out more about SoftExpert solutions for enterprise business processes improvement, automation, corporate governance, excellence, and compliance management. Thanks for listening. See you next time.